is all Richmond history, so I've just been like.
These are people's comments
Chris,
about
Bethany, and Lon are
their
here, so as soon as
critiques.
they get in, sit down, we'll start.
Okay, good.
I'm gonna
Isaac's reading the minutes.
These are people's critiques of GA and facilitation, and both negative and positive thoughts, some of which could lead to how we can communicate better. So Ron said that there's a problem with marginalized voices not being heard, soapbox being completely ignored, and that there needs to be more organization within the facilitation team, example between moderator and stacker. Jonathan then made a point about where he's working on an information hub where people can post information for work groups and everyone will know everything. It's a communications issue. I think it's there to, from talking with him, I think it's there to avoid the I didn't hear about it phenomenon. Then Jason said we have to stay more positive so we can bring more people in to the General Assemblies. I think that was in reference to the mood or atmosphere of General Assembly.
Previous minutes.
Will said when someone gets aggravated, we often tend to dwell on different issues and we go into endless circles and get very off topic. We don't have a process to stop that when it occurs. There's a dropout point usually coming or following the moment in which we take a break. Something that happens at GAs a lot is we take a 5-minute break, and everyone goes and has a cigarette or uses the bathroom, but we lose a lot of people, mainly because the first part of GA is so crazy. People who take a break don't feel like going back into that. Jeremy said that the biggest problem right now is that we can come up with ways to improve the process, but if we don't have a group providing consistency, then there is no consistency. People don't know what to expect from GA. We need to make sure GA is what we want it to be. Does that sound about right? Sure.
You might feel completely different.
Josh Kodrick said we have
Cadrich. I've got 3 of these left.
said we have a
I don't want
process,
to touch another
but it
beer.
hasn't been thoroughly followed. Or I think I typed filed. We have a process, but it hasn't been thoroughly filed. But I think he really said followed, and I typed filed because it's not consistent. We don't know what we're dealing with here. Josh Viles then said we need better facilitators. We need to strengthen the facilitation team. Then Ira Birch left to hitchhike out west. Said she didn't have much to say except goodbye. So we say goodbye to her.
Really?
Yeah.
Is she coming back?
Yeah, she's coming back. She's on a little adventure right now. Graham then said he'd rather have a dedicated team over a rotating team of facilitators. And this point's going to come up again by lots of different people. But from different angles, slightly different angles. Claire said too many GAs. We need to maybe have a posted agenda ahead of time. Respect for facilitation team. It just says respect for facilitation team. And then more handouts, agenda handouts, and more trusted working groups. And mic check. Oh, that's down at the bottom. You said that later.
Oh, yeah.
You said that
I
later.
did it. That was my
Oh, you
mistake.
are.
Mic check.
I didn't want to fight.
Mic check.
I'm
Mic
leaving
check.
now.
No,
Um,
really concerned.
Yaro's. Alright, I'm just gonna get through the rest of these quickly. Yaro said he agreed about a facilitation team, but didn't want to use the word dedicated. He agreed on scheduling an agenda ahead of time. Then I think these are his words, paraphrasing. I have a friend who's actually written a book on facilitation. We could get training out of them. The idea that facilitation is something worth being trained in. Rise up, reestablishing connection.
I had it right.
I also have it in a Word document. I'm going to switch to that. Alright, So it's given to, that was most of Yara's points. That we need to have a schedule, having a team that's well trained. Jimmy said he would like to form a team to recruit, maintain, encourage, and assess facilitators. He said two big problems he sees with GAs. A, he doesn't understand how decisions made by the GA are put in effect. Interesting point. B, people speaking out of turn. Some effort to take note of this fact at the beginning of each meeting would be good. Harry said we tend to circle jerk clusterfuck. He believes a dedicated team would be good, but to make the group happy, we need to have a rotation. He said perhaps once a month to where people are not upset. He said
Can you
pissed
explain
off.
what that means?
I got it. If someone talking about circle jerk clusterfuck,
Yeah.
I think I can define this pretty well.
I think he just,
I'll beep every time you need to beep out.
yeah. I think he just wanted to say circle jerk clusterfuck. I think it speaks to the headache.
I think
the headache that
he's
GA
pretty
is.
accurate in exactly what he meant by circle jerk clusterfuck, though. Circle jerk being basically like everyone just. Sorry. Everyone just like sort of indulging one another, which would sort of be the first half of that statement, which is what a lot of it is, just being like, yeah, cool, good statement, I like your ideas, and the clusterfuck just being like sort of something that is like a rubber band ball, right? It's so like intertwined and knotted up, and it's just not working. It's bundling up at certain spaces and not having any progress. So we're indulgent of each other without necessarily having any progress, which is what I think he meant by that, and I kind of agree with that statement.
I agree with that interpretation. I think there's multiple ways to interpret the circle jerk cluster.
Mine is correct. Twinkle me!
He said on a positive note he loves Soapbox. It's his favorite part because it's fun to hear what people have to think. Soapbox, then unofficial proposals so that you can make one that people are actually going to understand. I think Claire mentioned that later in the notes as well. Soapbox, some people have supported Soapbox leading to informal proposals. Greg Hatt said he agrees Soapbox should be first. One GA a week that is only Soapbox. He sees GA not as a decision-making body, but a rubber stamping body. First years should be used more efficiently. They should be used to answer questions about the process. Feels moderators should be dedicated, maybe not the rest of the facilitation team necessary for that. The moderator is not equipped to deal with GA getting off a process. You need a strong moderator for that. Feels the process should be stated before each new segment. Thinks people should talk to their neighbors more often if you're late or don't know what's going on. Teddy said, give my phone number out. No one ever calls me. I've been working on talking to seniors, but these people don't have computers. Where do they get that information? That's a very real communications issue. Bentley said have a healthy soapbox. Too many GAs. Thinks it'd be more attractive if we cut down to 1 or 2 GAs a week. Would like a conversation with the communications group to consider having the model of the spokes council that other occupations would have. In facilitation, not everyone understands or wants to work with the process, so if we're going to use a process, we should respect it. Mark Carter said facilitators need to be strong. They need to realize that they're instruments for the people and to know their roles in order to do a better job. Add to GA points of inspiration. I think a lot of people agree with that. And that point inspire people to think what a point of inspiration might be. Let's see what else. He said have a separate soapbox GA, separate soapbox GAs and business GAs. When it's mixed, it can get all mangled up. Also, sidebar conversation. I think he said it needed to be stopped. so much. That just comes with people respecting other people. Chris Dorsey said have only soapbox and then informal or formal proposals. So there's that idea again, soapbox leading to informal proposals. Or just plain proposals come out of that soapbox time. He said eliminate red tape. He also said in regards to communications and internet stuff, I think open everything up instead of closing everything down. As far as like circulating information, I think that was his point. And he says people are mistrustful. He is mistrustful for a reason. He said he didn't have respect for the process because process never had respect for him. And
Who said that?
Chris Dorsey. And that he'd like to put forward a team that does events, that understands politics, that understands how things work and what needs to be changed. Don't know if that was... Anyways, Graham has 5 points here. If you standardize a process and stick to it every time, all the time, then everyone will know what's going on and what the expectations are. People seem to be a lot more comfortable with the process if they know what the expectations are. If something's going to change, as long as the facilitation team is clear about what is going on or what's changing and how it's going to run, it should be fine. It says let's do soapbox earlier. Dedicated 10-minute period to the new time. Sorry, I don't know what the notes mean sometimes. Having strict time frames, strict 90-minute time limit on all GAs. If we need to open up those time frames, then make sure people consent upon that. He loves Mark's idea for having the inspirational point. That's something Tim Check has done. We can empower Tim Check to be able to organize and to coordinate those things. And he said maybe let GA be more about informational. Maybe let GA be more informational, rubber stamping body. Let's keep the goal in mind. That we're here to get work done. Let's maintain a process that does not give power to the people and that does not silence voices. Community is valued over individual, but where everyone gets a chance to speak. Greg Gunter said there should be no limit to time spent in GA. Which is in contrast to what Graham just said. Moving along, motion should be more
Point
respectful.
of information over here. Oh.
Question. Are we going through every single point that we brought up?
Yeah, it's almost
It's
done.
very last.
It's like right done. Sorry, we were kind of doing this first before we got started because people were still coming in, but now it's turned into me just trying to like read all of this as fast as possible. Greg said unable to make points when process is limiting. Soapbox and decision making should be separate, and it'd be okay to have just a soapbox GA, but don't take soapbox away from decision making GA. He also said if there's animosity in GAs, work it outside of GAs and don't bring it back. Animosity, anger is not Dow dancing. He also suggested a point of summary, which I think a lot of people liked. I remember people liking it. Claire then said she thinks we need to use mic check. Other people have said they would like to see proposals come out of Soapbox. There were people from intentional communities who do have experience and would like to offer facilitation training. And then Graham made a point about developing the 2012 strategy. And that's all there is.